Okay, welcome back, Hard Forkers. Good to see you, Johnny, Gonzo, and Stefano.
What's
Hello.
up? How's everybody doing?
Very well. And look, we've got a fantastic guest and project tonight. We've got Jeff from UNITRADE. Good to see you, Jeff.
Hey guys, nice to meet you all.
What's up,
Yeah.
Jeff? How you doing?
Very
Exciting.
good. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and exciting things happening with you guys. So we're literally sort of real time. You guys have got some big things happening, so we're going to hear all about that. So on that note, Jeff, if you could maybe tell us a bit about the history of UNITRADE and what's going down literally in the next 24 hours.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy to touch on that. It's an exciting time at UNITRADE right now. The platform got started back in early August when we did our OTC. We started development on the beta product that was released in September for first look for users. And as we kind of chugged through that, we went through a process of getting our limit order smart contract audited. And then subsequently, based on the feedback from users from our beta tests, we launched what we would sort of call our proof of concept or V1 platform, which allows users to come into UNITRADE as a platform and execute limit orders.
For those of you that don't know what a limit order is, I'll quickly explain. So, Jeff, you've had a look at the show that we do on Wednesdays, which is really designed to help people maybe not necessarily even new to the space. I mean, the space is moving so fast. From my personal point of view, I was used to those centralized exchanges, and it was actually Jordan that introduced me to Uniswap, and literally this is only a few months ago. So if you could maybe in real sort of basic terms talk us through, exactly what a market order is and a limit order, and that's what you guys bring to the table here.
Yeah, no, it's a great topic to discuss. So if you think about a conventional or centralized exchange, there's typically an order book. There's buyers and there's sellers, and there's a bid price and an ask price, and there's somebody in the middle, a market maker, that's connecting those two to execute a trade. In a decentralized exchange world where Uniswap lives, which is a decentralized exchange, there is no order book. What there is something called an AMM, or an automated market maker, which basically uses a smart contract or computer code to allow people to swap tokens. And the way they swap tokens is they go into Uniswap, and you have one particular token that you want to swap for another. You decide how much you're going to swap. And then effectuate the trade. And there's no interstitial, there's no third party in the middle that's making that transaction. And the price is based on an algorithmic formula called the constant product price. And it's based on a formula. So I won't get into all the specifics of that, but you can think of it as a centralized exchange is an order book with orders matching buyers and sellers. Decentralized exchange is programmatic computer code where users are swapping tokens within a liquidity pool where there's two tokens, and you decide how much you want to swap. And so where this is interesting is limit orders in a conventional world on a centralized exchange are easy to do because you just put in the price that you wish to purchase at or wish to sell at. If there's a market price, let's say something's trading at 35 cents and you want to buy it at 30 cents, you put in a limit order that says, I want to buy X amount of token at 30 cents, or I want to sell X amount of token at 40 cents. You can define that. And in a centralized exchange, it's easy because there's an order book and there's buyers and sellers, and you can just quickly match the two. So when the price hits that level, your order gets filled.
If you're basically saying I can use Uniswap, but I'll be able to actually go to sleep at night.
Yes. And that's the whole thing with Uniswap to date, right? You are not able to do limit orders. You're only able to do market orders. And so what that means is if you want to buy that token at 30 cents, but it's trading at 35, you're going to have to wait until it gets there. And that's, yeah, exactly. Right. Like, that's crazy.
Believe me, Jordan does do that.
1,000 gas, 1,000 gas, 1,000 gas.
And I mean, we've seen many situations where you're up all night trying to hit that price, or conversely, you go to sleep at night and something moons. And all of a sudden you wake up and it's already traded back down 50%. Yeah. And I've seen that happen. And I saw it actually happen with trade. And so we have these situations where there's these small cap tokens, which means there's small market capitalization. and there's not a lot of volume. There's not a lot of liquidity in those pools for those tokens. Yep. A lot of traders are gravitating towards those tokens because there's a lot of money to be made. But the problem is you can't do limit orders. You can only do a market order on Uniswap. And that's where UNITRADE comes in. We are allowing users to create and place limit orders on Uniswap.
That's huge. Let's dig into this, guys. Jeff, do you want to maybe do a screen share, and we'll have a look at this, and then the guys will throw a few questions at you.
If you go to unitrade.info, this brings you to our platform. This is where you can execute limit orders against Uniswap liquidity pools, meaning you can trade on Uniswap with limit orders. All you have to do is go to the right corner. You connect your MetaMask, or Trust Wallet is another one that you can use. And you just quickly execute the connection to MetaMask. You can search a token. Let's use UNITRADE since we're on that topic. And you can see the current price today is 38 cents. You can see the different liquidity pools that you can use, trade ETH, trade Tether, and trade USDC. So there's a few different pools which you can trade, but the majority of the activity is in the trade ETH pool. There's a nice little chart here, so you can kind of quickly look at how the price has been trending. Obviously, we've seen a nice pump in the last couple of days. There's some excitement around our staking launch. We'll get to that later. And then down here is an order book where you can see the current price, 38, and you can see the sell orders on one side of the book and the buy orders on the other side, which is really cool. You historically cannot see that within Uniswap. So just to kind of quickly show you guys,
wow, look at that
I've got
spread,
a little bit of ETH here. Yeah, there's a decent spread there, huh? If you look here, I'm putting in a trade. I'm saying, hey, I want to use 0.03 ETH to put in for some trade token. And then if I do a market price, that's going to get me 31 tokens of trade if I spend 0.03 ETH. But I want to buy this at 30 cents. You know, I think it's going lower. I don't really think it's going lower, but for the purposes of this exercise, I'll show you that. And then down here, I can estimate how much I want to spend on gas. And basically what I'm now saying is I'm going to be able to get 40 tokens at a price of 30 cents by putting in this limit order, which means I will only buy this if it hits 30 cents. And I click this button here. It says spend 0.03 ETH to get 40 trade at a price of 30 cents. That's when this order would be executed. We have an estimated gas price of 280, an execution incentive, which is what allows the trade to go through to account for some level of slippage, which we can talk about later. And then all I have to do is click approve. And then it's just going to connect to my MetaMask. I'm going to confirm the fee to approve that. And depending on the speed of the Ethereum blockchain at the current time, this will either go through right away or it'll take a couple minutes. But once that is approved, I'm able to then click place order. And, you know, I could show you what that looks like in a couple of minutes.
People that are used to Binance or other centralized exchanges, yeah, that's what a limit order is. That's what you've done there, but on a DEX. Very good.
So, Jeff, what happens, you know, like Ethereum is really prone to, like, you know, there'll be a scam or like some crazy airdrop and it pumps the gas. The gas will pump just as fast as like the price of some tokens. So what if in the span of when you're waiting for your order and the gas pumps, so you're like, you know, you've put, you know, 30 away, and then in the span of a half an hour, the gas pumps to like, you know, 50 or 60. What happens there?
So that's a question we get a lot, and it's a fair and good question. The tricky part about limit orders on Uniswap is that you need to account for the fact that gas prices could change by the time your order or your price is hit. So we have a smart contract where you place the order, and that smart contract is then going to execute that order based on a certain number of conditions. The first being, does the price hit where you want it? The second being, what is your gas price to effectuate the trade? And so what's made trading tricky on limit orders in particular is that it's difficult to know what is gas price going to be when the price hits 30 cents. Like right now in the last 24 hours, we've seen a lot of congestion in the Ethereum network. A week from now, there might not be any congestion in the Ethereum network. So the gas price could be low. So what we typically do is we will tell people, you know, if you want to ensure a high likelihood of your limit order to be executed and traded through, we recommend that you increase that processor fee or the fee that accounts for gas and slippage. And so you can do that on our platform, as I was just sort of showing you guys. At the end there was this processor fee, and that is what really allows you to account for that. And so what we've seen is, I'll just show you guys here again. This is just completing the order here, but back on the screen, if you look here, there's this processor fee, and this is what allows you to account for that gas and to account for possible slippage. And if you want to understand slippage, basically what happens is if there's a token that has a lot of volatility, the price can change very quickly. And so by the time your order is going through the blockchain to be executed, the price could move. And if your slippage isn't high enough, meaning it'll account for some percentage change in the price relative to when your order was set, you won't get filled. And so we've tried to account for that by adjusting that processor fee so that you can put in for more gas price, account for that, and put in for more slippage. And in V1 of this platform, we've hard-coded 15% of the gas price is what is used to account for slippage. And in V2, we will allow users to specifically toggle how much slippage they want in addition to how much gas they want to put in. And that's the key, right? Because what we've learned is users want to make sure that their trade goes through, but it's hard to estimate, right? Like, how much gas am I going to need if this takes a week to hit? How much gas am I going to need a month from now, right? Like, we don't know when these prices are going to hit. So if your condition is met to hit that limit order, buy or sell, you have to hope that your gas price was high enough to account for whatever congestion is in the Ethereum network at that time. And that's what we're solving for. And this is the value of the platform, right? This is not easy to do. We had to put V1 out there to learn some of these things. And now we're iterating rapidly on V2 to allow for users to customize so that they get their order filled. Because at the end of the day, if you go to sleep at night, you want to make sure your order gets filled. So I personally will typically increase that processor fee to account for gas and slippage at a higher rate. And that ensures, for the most part, that my order will go through.
Okay. So this version it has the processor and the slippage combined.
Yes.
Right. Because I know like there's on Uniswap, there's a ton of tokens now. They've got the deflationary aspects in them with the burns, right? For every transaction, they'll burn 2% or 3%. So it's up to the user, right, to know that that's there, and we have to increase that slippage tolerance. Or how does that work when it's combined? Or is it we'll have to wait for the next version?
Yeah, so the next version, you'll actually be able to toggle that. And if you want, I can just quickly show you what that looks like at the risk of doing too much screen share, because that's always so much fun on Zoom. But I'll just quickly show you that because I think you'll dig it.
Good, I think.
Yeah.
Totally.
So if you take a look here, okay, this is I'll show you first. This is what V2 looks like. So what you're going to do is you're going to have this nice, clean-looking box here, which is just very similar to Uniswap, right? We wanted to create something that has similar look and feel to Uniswap because we don't want to have a new learning curve for users. And V2 will have this nice, clean-looking interface where you can choose the token and you can decide if you want limit or market orders. This is a new feature of V2. If you don't want to do a limit order, you can also do a market order in the same platform, which we think is a compelling value proposition. So what you can do here is set that order like I had showed you before. But then if you look here, we then bring you to the next page, which is where you can set your processing fee and then your slippage. So you can set this specifically so that if you let's say you have a big order to sell or a big order to buy and you want to make sure it gets filled, you could change that slippage to 10%, 50%, whatever you want. And that will allow you wiggle room so that if the price whipsaws left or right, up, down, etc., you'll account for that so that when your order hits that price point, you have a higher likelihood of success of that being filled. And that's key. This is a key difference in V2 that we're excited about. And also, I'm sure you guys have seen and experienced on Uniswap, going back and forth between wallet, a MetaMask, etc., to toggle your gas price. We're building this functionality right in here so that you can specifically tweak that and ensure, fast or super fast, whatever it is, to make sure that the trade gets executed, because there's nothing more frustrating than losing an executed trade because there wasn't enough gas.
Jeff,
so this is a major upgrade.
Jeff, I just want to ask you a question, just so there's no confusion for any of our audience. Sure. I'm fairly new to Uniswap, but I now use it every 10 minutes, but that's only been the case for a few months. You're not a competitor as such to Uniswap, are you? You're effectively an add-on to enable these limit orders. Would that be the way you describe it?
That's absolutely right, and it's a great question to bring up because we do get a lot of questions. People that are new to the platform will say, "Are you competing with Uniswap? Are you a decentralized exchange?" No, we're not competing with Uniswap, and no, we are not a decentralized exchange. If you think about Uniswap, think about it as pieces of Legos that are built on top of one another, right? So Uniswap is a Lego that's on top of the Ethereum blockchain, and then UNITRADE is a Lego block on top of Uniswap. And so we sit as an application on top of Uniswap, and Uniswap sits on top of Ethereum. Right. So we're all sort of connected together. And with UNITRADE in particular, we're not competing with Uniswap. Uniswap is just a decentralized exchange that allows people to do market orders. Yep. We're simply creating an additional tool that allows traders to maximize profits, get sleep at night, and not have to worry about only being able to do market orders on Uniswap. We're just giving them more tools in the toolkit to execute trades.
My ample fourth trades just got a lot easier.
Well, it's funny because
except for that slippage thing.
Yeah. We've got the slippage thing is definitely front and center for us because what we're solving for is that small cap token, right? Like that the trading of the small cap tokens that are highly volatile. And those have big price swings. And typically, not to get too technical, but there's not a lot of liquidity in those liquidity pools, meaning there might only be $1 million of liquidity in that pool. The less liquidity there is, just like a standard order book in a centralized exchange, if there's less buys and sells, lining up for bids and ask prices, there's just a bigger price swing when a trade gets executed. So slippage is something that we need to account for, which is why we rapidly started iterating on V2. To allow you to set that slippage so that you can adjust and account for that and hopefully have a better success of getting that trade through. And this is, again, why there's a big value into what we're doing. These small cap tokens are so volatile. Doing market orders just doesn't work. And a lot of times, frankly, when you go to Uniswap and you do a market order, you have the same problem. You can set slippage, but it doesn't guarantee that your order is going to get through, right? And you can set your gas price, doesn't mean it's going to get through. So we have the same problems that Uniswap faces.
I'm gonna jump in with another question before I hand it over to these guys.
Yeah, I got
it'll get a lot more technical with these two. I'm quite new to Uniswap, so I'll sort of ask the dummy questions, the basic ones, and then you guys can really dig into stuff that most of the audience probably won't understand. So obviously I've understood what Uniswap is. I think it's a fantastic platform. As I say, I literally use it every 10 minutes now. This to me is a great development, what you guys are doing. For that reason, I bought your token, both privately and on the show we do on Wednesdays.
Right on.
Now, I can now stake this token as of today, tomorrow. Talk us through that. What's that all about?
Yeah, let me first explain how we make money, and that will tie into staking and the tokenomics, which is really, in my opinion, it's like the key part of this story, which is we have a viable product that users can use, right? Which a lot of products out there can't really say right now. Okay, we're solving for a key problem with Uniswap, and the tokenomics are highly attractive. So for people who aren't familiar with what tokenomics are, the way we make money is we charge a 0.2% fee on every limit order that gets filled. Now, if you're a user using Uniswap, you pay 0.3%. We tack on 0.2% to allow for that limit order. You're paying for that convenience of sleeping at night. I don't know about you, but I pay that 0.2% all day to get a couple extra Z's, right? So we generate 0.2% of every transaction. And then 60% of those fees go to what's called burning, which means that we systematically go out into the liquidity pool every day in Uniswap, and we purchase trade tokens with that 60% of the fees, and then we burn them forever, meaning this is a deflationary token. We have a total supply of 50 million tokens. That supply is just slowly going to go down as more people trade because we're burning tokens. And as the supply goes down, it increases scarcity value. And scarcity value means the demand as the demand of the token increases, the price is going to go up because the supply is going down. It's economics 101. Yep. So we allow 60% of that goes to burning, and then the other 40% dividends in the form of ETH, not trade, but ETH, to those who stake their tokens. So to educate the audience, for those unfamiliar with staking, all this means is if you hold, say you hold 1,000 trade tokens in your wallet, you have an option to go into our platform and stake them, meaning they are locked in our platform in a smart contract that's fully audited and secured for a period of 30 days. We have a 30-day locking mechanism. So you can hold your trade in your wallet and it earns no money for you, or you can stake it and you can earn dividends. And so what happens is, as we generate those 0.2% fees and transactions, 60% goes to burning, 40% goes in the form of ETH dividends to our stakers. So all we ask is that users come to our platform, they stake for 30 days, and over that 30-day period, whatever accrues in the form of transaction fees, 40% of that goes out in dividends in the form of ETH to those stakers on a proportional basis. So if you have 1,000 tokens and 10,000 tokens are staked across the network, you're getting 10% of those transactions, 1,000 divided by 10,000. So it's whatever you own and stake relative to what everyone else stakes in the network. And so the more you stake, the more you make. And what we're excited about is, as part of this launch of the staking contract, which is just got audited by Solidified, which is a reputable audit firm. We're launching a staking platform on Wednesday, the October 28th in US time. And to commemorate that launch, we're going to have 30,000 US dollar equivalent of ETH that will be injected into the smart contract as a bonus for stakers. And the way this is going to work is, for each of those 30 days of staking that you lock in, $1,000 will be put into the smart contract on a daily basis, such that over those 30 days is 30,000. Big money, people. So if you stake at the beginning, you're going to start earning your proportional share of that $1,000 worth of ETH on a daily basis for that 30-day period. And so the earlier you get in, the more money you will make, essentially. So we're trying to encourage people to stake up front. And so this is really attractive. And then after the 30 days is over and that bonus has expired, that's when you will start to earn, in addition to what you were earning throughout the 30-day period, is the 0.2% transaction fees, which is what everyone's really here for, right? You get to earn the 40% of those fees if you continue to stake after the bonus. So the bonus is just an incentive for people to get in, to experience what staking is like, to see those dividends accrue on your wallet, right? And then going forward, if you look out 6 months, 12 months, et cetera, based on your various assumptions, which I could walk through at another time, is you could make a lot of money from staking, a lot of money. It's all based on how much volume we drive through our platform.
Yeah, you know what I really like though is that it's rewarded in ETH, and not in trade, because crypto markets, if you unlock everybody at the same time, first 30 days, everybody's staked, they get their trade rewards, dump. Everybody's going to dump on the 30-day unlock, right? And you're going to drive your price down, right? So you're going to create a lot of sell pressure. But if it's an ETH, nobody's going to sell their ETH. What is he going to do? They're probably going to buy more trade, right? Or they're just going to keep their ETH, right? So
we had a long, that's a great point. And we discussed that at length, maybe a month or two ago, as we're talking about the dividends for stakers. And, what is that going to be? Is it going to be in trade? Is it going to be in ETH? Is it going to be in stable coin? What do we do? And we ultimately concluded the same as you did, which is ETH will allow people to come back into the pool and buy trade. ETH is, the universal currency for most people in that decentralized finance world, right? So let's give them ETH. Let's let them pull those dividends out, or claim those rewards, so to speak, whenever they want, and allow them to go out and buy more trade or whatever else that they choose to pursue. But if you think about the 30K bonus, that's just to get people in the door. What we're really shooting for, right, is volume on our platform. And if you do the math on, if we captured 2.5% of Uniswap daily volume, 5%, whatever that number is, these are really big numbers. And like, you can make a lot of money just from the staking, and then you throw in the burning of the supply going down, right? There's just going to be a lot of upward pressure on the price of the token.
5% would be 25
accruing
million.
all those dividends. Sorry, what was that?
I think 5% would be 25 million off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's depending on what you use for the daily volume of Uniswap. If you use 500 million of daily volume traded on Uniswap, I believe it's close to 20 million total of fees. And then 40% of that would be 80 million or 8 million. And that's US dollar equivalent in 1 year's time. And that's assuming, guys, that Uniswap volume is at 500 million a day. If you subscribe to the whole notion that Uniswap volumes are going to continue to increase because they're taking share from centralized exchanges, which we can also talk about, that those numbers double or triple or quadruple or 5x, right? Like Uniswap daily volume, if you look back 6 months ago, right, it was like less than 20 million. Today,
I'd never heard of it 6 months ago. As now I say I use it every 10 minutes.
August was insane. Just.
And so if that continues and you subscribe to that theory, right, we've seen what happened with OKX. We saw what happened with KuCoin, right? We've seen these scenarios where people thought they controlled their money on these centralized exchanges, but they don't. They couldn't get their money out. They couldn't get their crypto out. And so now that you're seeing this tidal wave of people leave those centralized exchanges, coming into decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. And so you can paint a scenario where $500 million of trading volume on a daily basis could be billions a year from now. And if we just capture a sliver of that, just a sliver, I'm not talking about we're going to capture 50% market share. 1 in 40 trades is 2.5% market share of Uniswap volume. 1 in 40, that doesn't seem like an inconceivable number to me, right?
Yeah.
If that's against a volume of $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, et cetera, we're talking big amount of money in the form of dividends and in a form of burning. Like this thing could be a cash flow machine. So that's what really makes me excited about this is I believe we have a killer application that really helps users solve a big problem, which is that they want limit orders. And we have crazy, insanely attractive tokenomics.
That's what drew me in. Unitrade has gone through our chat room quite a bit. Like right when you guys came out, it was like, looking at the white paper, everybody's like, dividends, limit orders. Okay, sign me up. Yeah, everybody was all in.
Exactly.
Totally huge gap in the market there. So
yeah, we're excited.
Can I got to connect it to that. At the same time, there's Unilayer, right? So I kind of got secondhand information, at the beginning, Reborn and this other guy, they were together working on this platform, right? And there was a breakup or something and it was split. So now there's Unilayer and Unitrade and they were both kind of doing the same thing. Can you kind of fill everybody in on what happened there?
I can't speak specifically to everything that happened with the inception of Unilayer. I think maybe what you might be referring to is there was a smart contract developer that worked on Unitrade, who left Unitrade to go work on another project. And there were concerns that he was going to work on the competitive platform Unilayer. So I think you may be referring to that. And that was a big deal back in mid-August. I remember the FUD started, fear, uncertainty, doubt. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I was there. I lived through all that. It was a crazy time. In the end, as is always the case with crypto, it was just a lot of noise. The developer did leave and joined another platform. He did not join Unilayer. He joined another platform. And we carried on. We brought in another team that helped develop the smart contract. And we finished this limit order smart contract. We got it audited and we launched the product on October 7th. So we did have those issues at the beginning. And I don't like to specifically comment on, the competition in terms of like, how they compare to us, what they're doing, their tactics. In my opinion, Unilayer is great for us because they are also validating that this is a product that has a specific use case in the market. There are a lot of supporters of Unilayer, which is good for us. All boats rise with the tide kind of thing, right? So if they're out there making a lot of noise about how great their product is, that's great for us because now it's drawing attention to us as well. And it brings more people to Unitrade in addition to Unilayer and vice versa, right? Like we're making a lot of noise, so we're bringing people to look at Unitrade and Unilayer, right? So I'll be honest with you, we at Unitrade, we don't spend a lot of time thinking about Unilayer, talking about Unilayer, worrying about Unilayer. They're going to go do their own thing. We're focused on execution. We're focused on what we can control, which is developing the best product, the sleekest, simplest user interface that will attract users to our platform. And I'm very focused on marketing and getting that word out because a good product and good marketing is what makes a great, successful operation and project. And look at no other than a company like Apple, right? They had a beautiful, great product, but Steve Jobs was a brilliant visionary on the marketing side as well. And that's what made them a great company. And we view things the same way at UNITRADE. It's a great product and great marketing.
Yeah.
And we'll focus on what we can control, not worry about what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, the more noise that they make about their product and et cetera, it's good for us.
Fair enough. Stefano, question from you, sir.
Of course. So, I mean, I know that obviously like the big news is staking the contract that literally everybody has been waiting for. However, I'm gonna go like on a different direction and ask, I think like a very obvious question, but I'm curious to like knowing about the future a little bit. What if Uniswap develops exactly the same thing on version 3?
Sure.
What does it happen at that point to UNITRADE?
Yeah. So I'll walk you through a few things on that front. First of all, great question. And we get asked that a lot, as you can probably imagine. And I think that was FUD's part 2 was, you know, Uniswap back when they launched the Uni token, right? Back September 21st, whatever date that was. You know, that was the next layer of FUD, which was, oh my God, you know, they did this, now they're going to do limit orders, et cetera. So I have a few points on this. The first one is that if you look at GitHub, which is a platform where developers post information about their product, you can see the specifications that are going to go into version 3.0. And there's no mention of limit orders in there. So that's just the first thing I would say is go check out GitHub and see what they've put into the repository. And there's no mention or discussion of any sort of limit orders. But let's just say that wasn't even right, okay? Let's say they changed that, et cetera. If Uniswap introduced limit orders, I'm fine with that because I'm not banking on UNITRADE winning 100% market share, okay? Not one company or one project is going to take all market share, right? In the world of ride sharing, for example, there's Uber, but there's also Lyft, okay? There's always more than one player. Google in the United States is, you know, largest search engine platform, but there's also Microsoft Bing, and there's also Yahoo. There's always market share for more than one player. So even if they did launch it, the assumptions that I'm making are we're 1 in 40 trades, we're 1 in 20 trades, nothing astronomical. I'm not expecting to win 100% market share. And even on those small sliver numbers, we generate a ton of transaction fees, a ton of dividends, and burn a lot of tokens. So I'm not as greatly concerned as a lot of people are about that because at the end of the day, I'm not banking on winning all of the market share. There can be more than one player in this market. There can be Uniswap, there can be UNITRADE, there can be Unilayer. That's fine. As long as we've built a really sleek and good product, we feel very confident in what we're bringing to the marketplace. And second, a third point I would make is people also, I think, don't understand, like, what is the priority for Uniswap? Their priority is not necessarily, oh, how easy is this trade for users? They set up a very simple platform to just make it easy and simple so that people trade. Their focus is on liquidity. They want liquidity providers to add more liquidity to their platform. They want new projects to launch new tokens on their platform and therefore attract more liquidity. So what's going to attract liquidity to the platform is a focus for them, making that more efficient, making that simpler, making that better so that the LPs or liquidity providers come in and provide more capital. They're less concerned about, you know, does this user have this way of executing a limit order that could be a kludgy or funky experience for users because of slippage, because of gas fees, et cetera. They just want the quick transaction to make their fee. This is, in my opinion, this is like the other, you know, like the 80-20 rule, right? They're focused on the 80. We're focused on the 20. We're focused on the traders that are looking for these small cap tokens. They're focused on other things, in my opinion. So I am not as, I've heard that bear case or that negative storyline. And for all those reasons, I'm not really worried about it. If anything, I actually think if they did do that and launch limit orders, it would bring more attraction to the concept of limit orders and us in turn, the same way that I was saying Unilayer would bring more attention to us as well.
That's fair enough. That makes sense. Relating on like, because obviously like now you guys like on the LPs of Uniswap, is there anything in future development of like the idea of like supporting other decks, or the main focus is like playing more on like more type of features? Is it going to be like an expansion, like more decks or more features on what UNITRADE can do, or both actually?
Great. Yeah. Great question. And I don't mean to be cheeky, but the answer is both. But I can tell you in terms of the cadence of things, right? The cadence of things would be, we want to make sure V2 is rock solid so people can do the limit order functionality with gas and with slippage. We want to make it really dead simple, no bugs, etc. But then the next step is focusing on that liquidity provider side, making things very simple. Because right now we're focused on the user trading side, but we also want to focus on liquidity management and making it easy for people to add liquidity the same way you can add liquidity on Uniswap, right? So we become a platform, a one-stop shop, if you will, where you can trade, but you can also add liquidity. And from there, there's other, you know, bells and whistles we could possibly add on, but I think liquidity is the next big one. And then beyond that, it's what you said, which is, okay, we did this on Uniswap. Where else can we replicate this process? Now, remember, every platform is a little bit different. There's Kyber, there's Bancor, there's different, you know, approaches to how they, you know, can function relative to a Uniswap. But the point is, there's a lot of these DEXs out there that we can absolutely just take the same model or concept and apply. But I will tell you, we think that the sandbox that we're playing in right now with Uniswap is massive, and it's only going to get bigger. And we think that we have a hell of a business built on top of just Uniswap alone that we wouldn't even have to worry about other DEXs for some foreseeable future. However, we hear the market, right? People want to know if they can do this on other platforms. We're obviously not blind to that. But I would say that the priority right now for us is user experience on the trading side, and then liquidity management on the LP side.
That's good. That's good. On the V2, because obviously like, you share a couple of screenshots on that.
Yeah.
I know that you guys have been like super busy, but I have to ask that, is it possible to have like a short timeline idea on when version 2 is going to be released?
Yeah. I can't specifically comment on when it will be released. And not because I want to withhold information from the audience or from you guys, but we're still working through when that date might be. And the reason why is because I think what we've learned is we need to be thoughtful about the deadlines and the dates that we set. As I'm sure you guys, if you've known about our platform from the start, there were a few dates that early on that, you know, it was hard to pinpoint when we would launch things. And by the way, I should tell you that we set out a roadmap, like something that people don't understand is we set out this roadmap in early August, right? We still try to stick to that same timeline despite losing one of our core smart contract developers that I talked about earlier today. We still came within 7 days of that September 30th original launch date. We launched on October 7th. We were pretty darn close, okay? But to have achieved that was, in my opinion, monumental. That could have set us back months, but we hustled to get that done. And so having had that experience where people were expecting X date, we delivered on Y date, they didn't have all that context about the smart contract developer that left, et cetera. We're very thoughtful now about setting a date that we can hit. And so that's why you saw our staking contract is launching Wednesday, October 28th. The reason why we set that date, even though we got the audit back on Friday, was to make sure that this thing was rock solid and tight and that we could deliver on that deadline that we promised. So as we think about V2, we're thinking about it the same way. What is a date that we know we can hit? Because we don't want to say, yeah, we're going to launch on November 1st and then miss that date, because then we lose confidence of the investors and traders in our token, right? So we want to be thoughtful about that. So what I can say to you is, after the staking contract is released, that's the top priority right now. After that's released, we're going to be working on that revised roadmap. And it's going to have a series of dates in there. And we're going to publish that for the audiences to say, this is our expectation of the roadmap and when we will launch. To answer that question, you know, the $1 million question everyone is asking me all day. I get blown up on Telegram and Discord. When are we launching V2? I can't disclose that yet. We're working through it. We just want to be thoughtful about what the date is because we want to make sure our investors have confidence in us.
And you want to stay in the good books of the developers, right?
Yes.
Give them dates. Right. They're like, what is he talking about? It's not ready yet.
I mean, that is indeed good.
Say, yeah, you know, it's going to be in 2 weeks. And then Reborn's going to message me, what did you just say?
Yeah, exactly.
On that call, right? Like that's not going to fly. So I need to be mindful of that.
And you know, those crypto investors are twitchy, man. Like, oh, something's wrong, dump. You know, like,
oh yeah, we all saw what happened to the price of like missing that line. So we all know very well.
Jeff, if there was a limit order, I would have gone to bed at $1.20 and woken up with $1.20.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, the what I found is, in crypto, like, you know, they talk about, you know, in people years, it's 7 dog years, right? Like in crypto, it's like 1 year is the equivalent of like 15 years in people years, right? It's like, it's insane. So as soon as there's any whiff of, oh, this isn't delivering on what I thought it was on this date, poof, I'm gone. I'm dumping. I'm going on the next thing because there's some new shiny toy or some purple unicorn that's out there running around that I can go chase. And it's an opportunity cost for people, right? Like, do I stick with this token and ride it out, or do I just go chase the next hot thing? Which, by the way, could be a rug pull or some explosion, which we've been seeing left and right in the DeFi space. But for the people that have been devoted to us, like myself, we're in it for the long haul. We see the vision. We understand where we're going. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. People are going to dump on news and launches and all that kind of stuff. I can't control that. We can't control that. What we can control is delivering a product on a set timeline and demonstrating the value proposition to users and traders. And we think in the end, that is going to be the winning strategy.
Yeah, well, Jeff, look, we also do a trading show on Mondays with a couple of friends of mine, Didi from the Bitcoin family, the guy famous for going all in on crypto, and the other one is Lisa Edwards, who's got 30 years trading experience, very well known in the crypto space, and we've hosted her on our Wednesday show a number of times, and I think she enjoys especially talking with these two guys, just like me. I'm learning a lot from them. You know, there's so many new innovations happening in the space. And for her, when she never really used Uniswap or barely knew about it, just like myself a few months ago. And for her, it was like, well, why, what are you talking about? I can't, how on earth do you trade? So the innovation you guys have here, innovation, but yeah, it's, you're bringing it to these DEXs. So, for me, I'm fascinated to follow you guys. As I say, I'm both a personal holder and in our competition show and review show. So, look, we're very keen to have a look on the weekly. Obviously, we'll put a bit of a shout out to your community if you want us to really look at it on the weekly, as with all our other projects. Flip us a few tokens, guys, and girls, of
course,
and we'll do that. Very interesting. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, we're really excited, and I thank you guys for your support of the the project and owning the token. And I would just say stick with us. There's been some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, you've seen V2. It looks pretty tight. It's solid. We're really excited about that, and the staking launch is going to be a big deal. We're putting $30,000 worth of ETH in there. We're burning, I didn't even mention, we're burning 500,000 trade tokens when we launch. Yep. So we're going to get that deflationary impact right out of the gates. And, this is a platform that's going to be a winner in the long run. So I think the devoted and loyal community members who own the token are going to benefit immensely.
Cool.
1% burn, that's pretty good.
Jordan, question from you, sir.
I got a couple kind of technical things. I don't know, looking at that V2, that was cool. I really liked it. Was there a plan to put the GUI number in there? Like a lot of the traders, they're like, they only talk in GUI when they're talking about gas, right? Like there was the dollar value, and then there was the ETH value. Like I was looking at the ETH value, I'm like, I don't even know what that is, because I either look at the dollar value or the GUI value when I'm placing trades. It's like, oh, this is 1,000 GUI. This is a fast one. I got to get in there. Or, it's like, oh man, that's $10 for that trade. Forget that, I don't know why, but it was just a matter of, again, familiarity, right? Like you're talking about keeping it the same, and the interface with the gas is completely different. But I think, if you had a third little number in there with just the GUI, that would tick some bells for everybody.
Yeah. And I think for users in the audience that this is the interface that he's referring to. And you can see it's in US dollars and in ETH. And I think what you're suggesting is, having a GUI in there so that you can toggle that specifically, like you could in a MetaMask wallet or some of these other wallets. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not the developer. I'm the marketing guy, but I believe that this settings button here may offer some of that functionality. But I'll check with Reborn. But either way, if it's not in there, that's great feedback. That it's all about making it familiar to users so that there isn't a steep learning curve. Yeah. And if there is, that's just going to make it more difficult. So that's great feedback.
Johnny Gonzo's a power user, Jeff. A power user.
Yeah.
He wants the GUI.
I believe that. Yeah.
I'm still figuring out what GUI is.
No, I'm with you. I also personally have to go into MetaMask when I do trades on Uniswap to change GUI significantly. I like to go as fast as possible because I don't want the risk that my trade doesn't go through. Yeah. I'm willing to pay a premium for that. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, like that little graph that they have, you can kind of see where all the volume is, and then okay, there it starts tapering off, right?
Super cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
One other kind of super detaily thing that a lot of people won't know about, but is like, on Uniswap, you get coins with like you get huge orders, right? Like quite substantial, like 10, 12, 15, 30 ETH orders. And then they have tokens with slippage, and you get a lot of these bots coming in, right?
Yeah.
And they'll snake you on the gas. And I understand exactly how it works, but I know what happens all the time is that the bot will take your order with more gas, and then they'll instantly flip it right away and make a profit on you, and you get screwed because you miss your trade. Is there anything coming, in kind of regards to that kind of stuff?
It's almost like we talked about this before and we didn't, but this is a great segue to just quickly touch on something that we're going to be rolling out soon, which I think you're going to dig as a technical guy. So we're going to be sort of rolling out what we would call sort of limit order mining. And so what happens is somebody can come in, and not to get too technical for the folks in the audience, but there's an execute order function that you can call on a smart contract that anyone can come in and call. And so what happens is somebody can come in and see the limit orders. And if the price gets to the point where the smart contract can execute the order, a miner can come in and call that execute order function and basically pocket the difference of the actual gas fee and what somebody put in as their processing fee. So if you as a user are willing to pay up a little to make sure that something gets done, we could have hundreds, if not thousands, of these limit order miners coming in and executing these orders, making sure that they get done, almost in a sense, building these bots, so to speak, within our platform so that we can execute orders efficiently and quickly. Right. So we are very mindful of what you just discussed. We see the bots, if you just look at any trading activity on Uniswap, you see the bots coming in and out all the time. For the limit order functionality, we want to create an environment where anybody can come in and execute those orders, and the difference is like a gas price arbitrage, if you will, where they can make that difference, and that ensures, right, the trader's okay with putting that money in because they want the order to get done.
Yeah.
It's like we have a field of people doing that.
Yeah, that's the anti-bot bot.
Yeah. And maybe that's what we'll call it, the anti-bot bot.
Do it. Yeah.
Like that.
Ding. Cool. Yeah, no, I mean,
I didn't really understand any of that, but
well, I mean, it's just a technicality.
That's the point of the show. We're sort of trying to educate me and therefore the audience with these two power users. So, Stefano, have you got any closing questions?
Just one, which is not really like a question, is more like on the current homepage. Is there any idea of like, because right now, like the volumes and the trading and everything, those are like from the Uniswap, I assume, platform. Is there any idea to put them like on the UNITRADE volumes and things? Because like the first time that I saw that, I was like, that looks so odd, and it took me like a little bit of time to get to that.
So I'll tell you our vision for things, which will roll out as part of V2. So that's a great question, first of all, and also something that people have brought up. So currently today, you go to unitrade.info to search for a token and execute a trade like I showed earlier. In the future, V2 is going to be unitrade.app. And that is going to be the platform that you use to execute the trade. So if you think about Uniswap, there's uniswap.info where you're searching for the token. You can see price, you can find the tokens, et cetera, do some analysis. But then when you go to execute the trade or add liquidity, it kicks you out to uniswap.app. We're doing the same thing where unitrade.info will become the place where you search for tokens, you do that analysis, you find new tokens, you look at charts, et cetera. But then when you go to execute the trade, it'll push you out to unitrade.app. And that's where you're going to see that sleek V2 sort of interface. And so we think that will eliminate some of that confusion that you discussed. And it'll sort of bifurcate the market so that there's people that can go and search and do what they want to do from the analysis side on one page, but then execute the order on that clean, sleek, simple user interface.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Fantastic. Jordan, any closing questions from you, sir?
One thing I was kind of thinking about earlier that we didn't really touch on is, you're the marketing director. It seems like Uniswap is picking up in China, right? And do you guys have a plan for attacking that market?
Yeah, it's
because I mean, there's so many people there, and like all the control. I mean, they're ripe for decentralization, right? So it seems like that's the target, right?
Great
The
question.
prime.
Yeah, great question. So we internally at UNITRADE talk about China being the sleeping giant, meaning that this is an enormous market that is just in like the, to use a baseball analogy, in the US, it's the top of the first inning of a 9-inning game, right? This is just the very beginning of what's happening. And so what we started to see is these centralized exchanges that are very popular in China, OKX, Binance, Huobi, KuCoin, etc. We've seen a lot of issues with OKX, KuCoin in particular, and we're seeing people almost lose this trust in these centralized exchanges where they always did business. And now they're saying, well, wait a minute, I want to go to a decentralized exchange. We don't have to worry about that. I have what's called sole custody over my tokens. I'm not giving it to somebody else in exchange to hold, right? And so by doing that, I'm able to do things autonomously on my own and get out of that trust game of centralized exchange. And if you think about crypto as a whole, right? The whole concept of crypto back when Bitcoin launched was decentralization and a trustless system. So a DEX is a trustless system that you can go to and control your own funds. And so what we're seeing is two things. One, people are migrating away from those centralized exchanges to decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. And two, we're seeing this huge trend of new tokens being launched on Uniswap or decentralized exchange relative to centralized exchanges, where there's a lot of fees that get involved with that. There's certain thresholds and regulatory standards that they need to meet to get listed on a centralized exchange. With Uniswap, all you need is ETH and your token, set a price, build a liquidity pool, and you're off. There's been 17,000 new token pairs created on Uniswap in the last 6 months. Wow. It's insane. You can go to Dune Analytics and see the data for yourself. 17,000 new token pairs since May.
Yeah,
D2 launch.
I don't doubt it. I got that Telegram bot that says, "Oh, new listing, new listing, new listing." There's like 100,
they've
200
made
a day.
On-ramp. Yeah, there's no friction in the on-ramping, which is huge. So you're seeing these new tokens listed on Uniswap, right? And you have these Chinese investors who are saying, "I want to get access to that token," but guess what? They're not listed on a centralized exchange, and so they don't get access to the token. The only way they can do that is to go to Uniswap. So we're starting to see this, like I'd call it tidal wave. It's just starting to build and crest, and it's coming our way into this Uniswap world. And so what we are doing at UNITRADE is we have a team that's dedicated to the Chinese market. One of the fundamental things is you need a Chinese Telegram group. You need a website that's translated in Chinese. These things sound so simple and stupid to you guys, I'm sure, as they did to me, but it's like simple marketing 101. A lot of these projects don't have the resources to do that, and they don't think about that. So we're way ahead of that. We're like, we've got a whole team that's dedicated to this. We do AMAs with the Chinese market. We have a marketing team that's focused on China, and we have Telegram group, Discord group, and all the other things that you need to have. Our website is translated in Chinese as well. So what was important is there's this tidal wave coming from these centralized exchanges in China. Everyone wants access to DeFi. Everyone wants autonomous custody, meaning they manage those tokens on their own through their own wallet. And they want access to these tokens where there's this great volatility and this great opportunity for profit capitalization. And they can execute on that profit opportunity by using limit orders on UNITRADE.
Couldn't have written a better script right now, stuff that happened to KuCoin and OKX. It's the perfect crypto script, It
really is. It's a perfect storm in a good way.
BitNex, right?
Yep.
Just waiting for that shoe to drop on Binance.
I know. I think about the same thing. And if that shoe drops, I think the $500 million of daily trading volume in Uniswap is going to increase exponentially. It's gonna go up a lot. And the liquidity, the liquidity as of yesterday was like $3 billion of liquidity on the platform. There was less than like 20 million 6 months ago. It's just unbelievable how much growth the platform has seen. And we're just gonna ride that wave.
Yeah. Oh, look, we started off the show really with me talking about, beginning a show with Johnny Gonzo and Stefano to really learn what was happening in Ethereum. I'm 4 years creating Bitcoin content. I've gone from using centralized exchanges, trading some Bitcoin and some ETH to, I only use Uniswap now. I don't even.
Sean's a degen.
I'm a total degen. So look, you're bringing
the transition is complete.
You're bringing something that's absolutely needed. I totally see the use case. I think you've answered quite well about obviously the threat to UniTrade, which obviously for me is Uniswap doing exactly the same thing. So, you know, we really look forward to following what you guys are doing, and thank you very much for your time, Jeff. Obviously, you guys are launching the staking tomorrow, which when we post this video is probably the same day. So we won't take up too much more of your time. Would love to have you or other people from your team back on our content over the next few weeks. Exciting times for you guys, and we'll certainly be following it very closely. And once again, thank you very much from all of us for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was great talking with you, and thank you for your support of the project.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you
for all the answers.
Okay,
I'm really looking forward for those returns.
Take it till you make it.
Me too.
Take it till you make it.
Excellent. Okay, so look, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Obviously, this is the long form chat with Jeff. You can follow this project on our show on Wednesday, Thursdays. We'll be taking a really close look at it. It's all happening right now, so very exciting. Thanks once again, Jeff, and we'll see you back here very soon, I'm sure.
Sounds great. Love to be on.
Cheers.